What are you doing in my swamp? What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Overboy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2005 movie War of the Worlds. This is the Steven Spielberg version that came out in 2005. There were two other versions that came out that year. I haven't seen them. One was a direct-to-video, and I think the other was a TV movie, but I haven't seen those versions. So this one's just the Steven Spielberg version. And this movie follows Ray Ferrier, played by Tom Cruise, who is had just gone through a divorce. His wife is remarried and stuff, and he's supposed to be spending the weekend with his kids and stuff and everything. She drops him off at his house while her and her new husband go visit her parents in Boston, and they're trying to get used to things. Things aren't kicking off well. He hasn't really been the best dad to these kids, you can tell, and everything, and they have this strained relationship, and things start going crazy when aliens come out of the ground and start turning people into dust and everything, so they have to escape from the aliens and try to figure out a way to get to their parents and stuff, or get to their mom and everything. He takes them to their mom's house, and it's empty and everything, so they start heading to Boston, and along the way they meet all kinds of crazy people who are panicking and stuff because of the aliens and stuff, and it's just really insane movie, really intense. But this has been one of my favorite Steven Spielberg movies ever since I was a teenager. I remember when this movie first came out and everything. I had heard about it and stuff, but I didn't know anything about it and everything. I had never actually heard of the story of War of the Worlds before. I saw the 1953 version right after I watched this one. Me and a family friend watched this version, and then he showed me the original version and everything. I need to re-watch the 53 version because I haven't seen that one in years. I remember liking it, but I like this one a lot more. I don't know nowadays if I were to re-watch it if I like the original more or not, but I just really love this movie. It's a blast from start to finish and everything. I really like the characters in here. And Tom Cruise does a really great job playing Ray. He's really good in this movie. And his kids, Rachel and Robbie, are played by Dakota Fanning and Justin Chatwin. And they're both really good in this movie. Especially Dakota Fanning. She gives a really good performance, although she does kind of get annoying. Even as a teenager, I always liked Dakota Fanning. She was one of my favorites growing up and stuff and everything. I grew up watching her stuff, and she was really good in this movie, but she does this really annoying scream throughout the whole movie, and it gets really old after a while, especially during the third act of the movie. Her screaming is just really annoying. It's kind of like how Sally's screaming was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It just a little bit over the top and annoying at times, but she was really great in this role. And Justin Chatwin was really good too as Robbie. He really fit the role, and all three of them work really good together and everything, and were really believable as like a family that's kind of broken and don't really want to be together and everything. It's just really well done. And this, I haven't seen this movie in a long time. I actually think it's probably been about 12 or 13 years since the last time I watched this movie. It's been a really long time. I watched it a lot when it first came out. I had it on repeat all the time. I actually had it recorded on a VHS tape and watched it all the time until that tape wore out. And then I had a couple of copies recorded on DVD before, and then until I finally got it store-bought and everything. And I just watched it all the time back then and everything, and so I hadn't watched it in a long time, and I was kind of eerie when going back to revisit it because I was afraid it wasn't going to age very well and stuff, like the visual effects and stuff. But actually, the visuals actually hold up really well. The CGI is still really good, and I think he Spielberg used more practical effects than he did CGI and stuff. He used as much practical as he could, but the CGI that is in here does still hold up really well. Kind of like with Jurassic Park, it hasn't really aged that bad, and everything. So I will say that that's really good, and like the story is still real. I still really enjoy it and stuff. There's a lot of stuff you could tell that this movie was affected and stuff, and impact from 9/11 and stuff, like the way the panic and stuff is in this movie and everything. I know that's one of the reasons why some people I personally didn't enjoy this movie as much, because they said it reminded them too much of the events of 9/11 and stuff, and like the panic and stuff that goes on in this movie was a lot like how it was that day and everything. I remember that. I remember how crazy it was that day, and I can get why it would bother people and stuff. It didn't really bother me and stuff, but I can completely get why it did some. But this is just a really, really good movie. It has some really intense moments, and there's some pretty good emotional moments. Tom Cruise is really good in here for the most part, although like at the beginning of the movie he's like really kind of over the top and overacting and stuff before like the invasion starts and stuff. But once the invasion gets going and he has to be serious throughout the rest of it, he's really good in here. But this was at that weird stage in his life when he was jumping on Oprah's couch and stuff, so he was being really over the top in this movie like he was in real life. But I've always thought he was really good in here though. But I think that John C. Kaminsky's cinematography is really, really good and everything, and they did a really good job with that. And like the blood and the stuff that they use on the ground, and the stuff that looks like the blood, but not the like the veins and stuff that grow on stuff and everything. It looks really, really disgusting and everything. Those effects hold up really well as well, and this is a really well made movie. I forgot how much I loved it. I've always liked this one quite a bit and everything, but I'd forgotten how good it is. Everything. I like John Williams' score in here, although it's not near as good as most of his other scores for other movies that he did with Spielberg. It's not really terrible or anything. It's just not really memorable or anything. It don't have any of those iconic themes that just stick with you after you see the movie and everything. But his score is fine for this movie. It works good enough. And I think the aliens were pretty cool looking in here too. I like how he tried to make them look different than aliens from his other movies that he did and stuff. I thought it was cool. And I like that scene when the alien is in the basement and stuff, and it's messing with the bike. I don't know for sure if that's supposed to be Elliot's bike from E.T., but it does resemble it a little bit. Now, I don't know for sure if it's supposed to look like it or not, but except I think the basket was a lot bigger in E.T., but I thought that was kind of a cool little nod, if it was meant to be a nod anyway. I don't know if it was or not, or maybe it's just me overthinking it, but I love that scene and everything. And Tim Robbins was in here. I actually had forgotten about him being in this until just a couple weeks ago when I was listening to Lindsay Ellis's video about War of the Worlds versus Independence Day and stuff, and she was talking about Tim Robbins in this movie. I totally forgot he was in this and everything. He's really good in here too. He kind of has lost his mind and stuff because of it, losing his family and everything. And he's really good in this movie too. He's not in here very long. He's got maybe 10 minutes of screen time at the most, but he's good in the little bit that we get him and everything. And like the scene when Ray has to fight him and has to pretty much kill him because he won't be quiet and stuff, because it's either kill him or take a chance of his daughter being killed and kidnapped and stuff and everything. And he has her closing her eyes, and we just sit in the scene. We're just like sitting there with her as she's singing "Hush" by Mountain and trying to ignore the the sounds that she's having to hear is really intense scene, really well written and everything, and I absolutely love this movie. It's just a really, really great movie. I don't get why it gets the hate it does, except maybe it's different from the source material. To be honest, I've never read the book. I've always wanted to. I've never really listened to the radio versions. I think you can listen to them on YouTube. I haven't listened to them before. I need to. But I really enjoyed this version of the story, and it's kind of like my go-to one. If I'm in the mood for a War of the Worlds movie, this is the one that I would go to. But I'm kind of wanting to see the other versions and read the book and stuff. Now that I'm older and stuff, I'm kind of curious to see more about the history of this story and everything, because I know there was other versions. I know there was one from the 80s and of course the 50s version, which I have seen, but I just don't remember very well because it's been a long time since I saw it. But yeah, so I'd say I'd give War of the Worlds a 9 out of 10. It's a really, really good movie. One of my favorite movies that Spielberg directed in the 2000s. Probably the one that I have the most nostalgia for, because I used to watch this movie all the time. Like I said, I had it on repeat and stuff for many I used to watch it 2 or 3 times a day when I used to have it recorded on VHS and stuff, and it's just a really great movie. I always enjoy watching it. But let me know in the comments what you think of War of the Worlds. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Because I know a lot of people love it, a lot of people don't like it. I'm just curious to see what you think about it, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.